things were intended, and this problem is because they've existed for a very long time, were intended to be remedied by some of these commissions, Judicial Service Commission. And each and every week we're talking about failure of this Chapter 15 commissions. Now we're talking about the JSC failing to fully do its job. And now because a judge can just move to court and block his inquiry, and that's it. Are we saying that it is our constitution that's failing? Or what is happening to all these commissions that were intended to remedy a lot of these ills? Well,
you know, it's very unfortunate that some of these safeguards that were put by our constitution to be able to protect the Kenyans from obvious exploitations. Many Kenyans are not able to access government services, or else they are not able to access their rights as they should be. And the reason as to why we had these commissions put in place is to be able to check government institutions in terms of performance and service deliveries thereof. But I want us to, you know, bring it down to a common mwananchi understanding on what is happening. Because as Wakili Kinyanjui would explain it, he would explain it in such a high legal terms that most of our viewers would want to understand what exactly is happening. I want to take the opportunity and simplify it. How many people are in prisons today because they could not have access, you know, justice, or probably afford it thereof? How many guys are in prison, you know, and they could have as well, you know, innocently so, they are stuck in prisons? How many people, you know, we say justice delayed, justice denied. How many cases, and I can see here one of the complaints that wakilis are talking about is because cases have been taking ages and all the time in courts. I mean, all you see is a lawyer walking into court with your files, but you've never gotten justice. We have cases that have dragged in courts for 20 years, 25 years. Some of these cases are, you know, succession cases and others. People have died. You know, we have to now go through another succession for us to be able to start the case again. So all these scenarios, including now the obvious, you know, what we can see, you know, the capture or what I'll call lack of independence of the judiciary, especially when it comes to the interferences of the executive thereof. So those are the big questions that Kenyans are asking themselves without removing the tag of corruptions and things like that. Because we've seen in these bulletins, you know, judges, as recent, I think last week or this week, you know, someone being arrested. Well, you know, yesterday? Was it yesterday? Yeah. A judge was arrested.
Oh, a magistrate.
A magistrate was arrested in the middle of correcting a bribe. So why was it being corrected? It is a version, you know, of justice that was being done on that table, which means there will be affected parties. Somebody is not going to get justice. Those are the questions that I would want to challenge our lawyers in these panels today to be able to continue putting pressure on the judiciary so that they can be able to not only serve us with justice, because that is exactly why they're established, but of course, lead by the front in this country. The biggest problem in this country is corruption.
All right.
Corruption have killed institutions, independent bodies like the one you've just asked me, that have been established by our constitution, so that they can be able to protect Kenyan, you know, from exploitation of the already established, you know, arms of government. Are not working. They are not working. And that is the question you asked this morning. What is the problem? You know, the people, the men and women that we have entrusted with these independent bodies to act independently. And I'll give an example with what was happening in Orkara with the IBC. Look at how they are trying to, you know, how confused they are. And I know we'll get there. How confused they are in terms of trying to respond to various complaints that Kenyans are raising. But you would hear even a commissioner telling, send us those complaints. As if you live in the moon and come back here in the morning. You can't see things. Things are being reported everywhere. Okay. So all I'm saying, one of the biggest fabric of this country that needs to be stitched, it is the independence of our institutions, because those institutions were established with a particular reason to protect Kenyans from exploitation of on already established, you know, constitutional powers, and that is where we have failed. You know, when you hear somebody telling us about roads and bridges and things like that, we are telling them that the fabrics of our country, is torn.
Okay.
And that is what we need to fix.
And it's a serious tear. Allow me to welcome Wakili Joshua Nyamori into the panel. We're talking about the boycott by lawyers against some judges. Yesterday it was a blanket boycott, but